Yes, Marram, I'm privileged to have you today. I'm privileged to be able to discuss with you. I rarely have the opportunity to exchange with architects from the Middle East. Uh, the last one I think was Bita Razai, and it was a very interesting conversation. So we are going to go on and forth. Feel free to just be in an exchange. It's not an interview, but a discussion. So can you just present yourself for the public?
Okay. I am Marram Abbas from Syria, 27 years old. I am graduate from Spring University. I am an architect and research in urban planning.
Yeah, Trisren University. Can you speak a little bit about that university? It's just about architecture, or architecture is just a department, and how is life there as a student in architecture, of course.
As a student,
As a student there, how is life in the Trisren University? How was life there?
okay. Um, Actually, when I was a student, we had a difficult circumstance in my country, Syria, as you know. So my life at university um, was interesting and helpful, uh, but we had very enormous difficulties like later sources, electricity difficulties, and transportation difficulties to my university. But uh, but I am not sufficient from one resources. I like to learn more from a wide resources and variety schools. So I work hardly to search and learn from international universities by platforms and social media.
Yes. Sadly, you went through many difficulties, but it made you the person you are today. So we'll just be grateful for the capacity to go through, or the capacity of both of us to be together speaking. Around people in the world, there's no issue, there's no problem, there's no grief, but sometimes it's come between authorities or political leaders or whatever. But at the end of the day, everybody must be able to perform and have the freedom to move freely wherever he goes and come back. And that's one of the opportunities we have with Jacques Rougerie's foundation. So as a junior ambassador, can you explain me a little bit about your role and the competition itself?
Okay, well, the Jacques Rougerie Fondation play great role to build resilient future by educate and stimulate architects, engineering, and designers around the world to think about big issues for our planet and different world. With the three main titles, space, sea, and silver rise. The aim of the foundation is to open innovation to create together sustainable world, so it works at a variety levels. First one, realize international competition to encourage architects to provide creative projects from all over the world, as well as this competition has a special interest in third world countries and African countries to develop it. On the other hand, the foundation directed to share their ideas and values with a huge number of countries via tech ambassadors team to target every contact with every community in the world.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think too. Talking about interest on the third world countries. Uh, Let me know what you are doing for the architectural competition thing in your country. Is it really popular?
Okay. Actually, in my country, the competition itself and this series is not popular enough because of that, I work hardly to create this important skills and competence, as well as help students to think of support regardless the difficult circumstances in my country we live in. But so I talk about it as a journal, social media platforms, events, and workshops, as well as I work on my personal project to encourage the students to take this step and to think about this issue.
Yes, when architectural education is not yet have not yet breached crossed the gap of the past century methodology of learning. I particularly had to do 3 years with no digital design because they said we must master the hand and all this way of designing before coming through to enter in the digital world. So there are strongholds, but progressively people are evolving to understand due to research, due to thesis, due to performance, and actually due to BIM, that it's important to start thinking differently. And I think it's also an issue because whenever somebody wants to participate in a competition, who not just look at the ideas he have or the concept, but also to, how can I call it, the skill set, the ability to be able to provide at the same level of the others competitors, the design, the renderings, the presentation. Do you have any specific methodology to elaborate your proposals?
Okay. As well as our work on social media and platforms, I propose to create live events in universities at all our countries to build direct bridge contact with academic institutions and influence on those journal students, general students.
Yeah, I understand, but I mean, when you participate in competitions, do you have a specific methodology, a personal design methodology to elaborate your proposals?
Yes, yes. Yes, there are many criteria to participate in competitions. The first is the importance of the subject, and then the influence of the competition, the value that competition can add it to me, and finally the prize.
Can you talk a little bit more about your methodology for projects in general?
Okay, in my project, I depend on link the community and culture with the project and sustainability and our architecture line. So I think the first aim of any project architecture in the world is to rise the lifestyle and life for everyone. And it should be benefits for developed communities, economics, and humans.
Great. So the human is at heart of your project. I know you are coming from Syria, like we talked about. So how is Syria culture? I know you have a rich culture, architectural history. So how does you integrate it in your design approach, or you just directly dive into modernism or maybe biomimicry?
Okay. Yes, sure. My country have a rich culture. So at every project, even planning a project or design a project, I should study the area of the project and the community around it. And the first aim is link this different culture together to create a sustainable community. And link. As you know, as postmodernism planning criteria, the first aim is create this linking bridge with different communities to achieve sustainable city. So if the city doesn't have these link bridges with different communities, so there is a fall in the planning for the city, and it will fall and this is create a violent action at these communities because it's very spread together.
Great. Very insightful. So obviously with such an amazing way of linking context to concept and culture to future, tell me, from all the design you have done, which of them you like the most and why?
Oh, that difficult question. I participate in many competitions, but maybe I think I like it most the Jacques Rougerie Foundation because it's Jacques Rougerie Foundation competition learn me more and open my mind about very interesting issues and titles that was absent in my country is the civil rights issues. And I heard it for the first time from this foundation. So after this competition, I blogged myself to work on gifts on this subject. So I get my graduation project at this title, and it was the first project from itself in my country, Syria. And then I make a research about waterfront with civil rights.
Amazing. Yeah, obviously, Jacques Rougerie give opportunity to work in unknown areas, really, because as students, it's sometimes difficult to be thinking about Mars, the moon, the seas, and the sea level rise. It's true in my country, we talk of sea level rise because it's an issue in African coastal areas. But how to create a new culture, maybe on the moon, like we're talking of Syria culture, how to create a sustainable approach from zero and be sure that it will not develop to become another unsustainable area in the future. So really, I encourage every Syrian, junior or senior or architect, designer, engineer to participate in the competition. They will surely learn enough and be able to propose new ideas. So in that regard, what are your references in architecture? Do you have architect that is an inspiration for your work?
Actually, I'm not a fan for this concept, ideal reference. I prefer learning from old school, different resources, as well as different methodology, different communities, and then develop my own ideas, own character, and goals.
Yes, I was not talking of having an idol architect because I personally, I don't have any idol, but yes, there's architects that I respect the work, the approach, and I learn from their drive to success. But I can understand where you're coming from.
I I aim to be the idol in the architect.
Yes, I can understand where you're coming from. When I was a student, they used to call me Biakingels. I don't know why. I have classmates they called Vitruve, other one Le Corbusier, and so on and so forth. Yes, I can understand, but at the end of the day, nobody wants to be somebody's clone. If not, you are bringing nothing more to the build
I think
environment.
I think I learned from all these big architects. I think I learned so much.
Yes, great. Okay, then since you have no reference, no idol, do you have any tips for student or young architects?
Sure, learn more and more and more. Don't sufficient by one resource, but search and learn more from different sources. We live in open world, and don't horrified or shine about your ideas. Freedom your dreams and be brave enough to add value to our world.
Yes. Generally, this question, when I ask to Junior or to whoever, I'm always like, is it really possible to do what you are saying? Because it's always like a philosophical statement. Believe in your dream, trust in the world. Yes, but at the end of the day, you can't say nothing more than that, because in architecture, everybody must be able to bring something new to the table. Maybe new in the context, new by the concept, new by the design approach, new by economical approach. So there's various way of
Sure. Sure, that cannot. Sure, that cannot be a reality without very hard work. Participate at every workshop in in your countries, and the workshop at platforms. Now there is Coursera platform, Predix platform, FutureLearn. All these platforms create free workshops from international universities, so you can learn from it easily and get ideas. Sure. Participate in competitions to learn from competitors and get support from organizations around the world.
Yes, talking of partnership and opportunity to have cross-world views on workshops and so on. I don't know if you have some workshops in Syria or maybe elsewhere in which you have you can make a decision to partner with some other. It would be great if you give us the links or the opportunities to see how maybe all the rest of the world can join you guys in your workshops and vice versa.
Okay. In my country, there was many workshops. My university create many workshops and transfer information even for students and architects and senior architects to create this link between career field and students. Also, there was a workshop by 22 magazine. This 22 magazine is an architecture magazine for my country and all the Arab world. This magazine works to bring the international concepts and the international information to our areas. So this some of the workshop in my country.
Yes, guys, you have the links for all those workshops and magazines at the end of the video, at the description.
Yes, I will add the thing.
Okay. Why is it important to participate to architectural competition?
Okay, I think it's very important to create international influence and to take a challenge to this competition with different architects and culture on big projects.
So
it's a very nice opportunity to introduce yourself to our world and get support from organizations around the world. Maybe and sometimes you can get a financial support for your ideas from this competition.
Great. It's not part of our brief, but I'll ask you a last question. According to you, what is the role of an architect?
Sorry, I don't understand.
What is the role of an architect in a society? The last question.
Okay. The role of architects in society is at first one built environment. Built environment means built the community environment and the hard environment by streets, buildings, and etc. So to build even corridors and paths with different areas and different communities to develop lifestyle and develop the community.
Great. It was very privileged to be able to discuss with you. I hope this helps young architects around the world, and surely they will learn more about the importance of participating in competition and the importance of Jacques Rougerie Foundation's aim around the world. Thank you very much, Marram.
Thank you to you too.